What does he want here? I hope they leave soon.
Johanka?
Henry?
I'm glad to see you.
Me too. I heard that you're doing well.
Well, that depends.
You're alive. So you're doing well.
What's happening here? Oh my God. Philip and... they're all...
Yes. Where do you think the wounded ended up?
Actually, I had no idea.
Well, now you know. Me and Nicodemus have been trying to keep things under control since Skalitz was raised. Just the two of us.
So can I help at all?
Certainly. We can always use an extra pair of hands here. And it's been like that since the beginning.
I was in a bad way myself back then. They took me to Ratai unconscious, and I needed a healer. How is everyone holding up? What can I do?
Holding up? People here are dying, usually needlessly, and I can't do anything about it. We don't have enough food or space or anyone who's willing to help us.
Doesn't anyone help you with nursing these people? You've got scholars all around you.
Scholars, maybe, but they leave the healing up to God. Nicodemus is trying, but everything he knows is from his books.
Can I have a look at them myself? I know a little about healing.
Do you now? And what would you do if you burnt yourself at the forge?
First, you have to cool it down with water. Marigold ointment helps, and it's better if you don't bind it and let it breathe.
You do know what you're talking about. Looks like blacksmiths know about more than just pulling teeth.
Pulling teeth? Nothing to it. As long as you don't squeeze the pincers too hard and crush them.
Well, go and see if anyone needs anything. Just don't go pulling anyone's teeth.
And how are you doing? You're the only woman here, alone in the monastery.
Some of the monks speak to me, but other people act like I don't exist. Too bad the custodian isn't one of those.
Is the custodian causing you problems?
All the time. Apparently he has a wife somewhere, but that doesn't stop him. He's constantly strutting around in front of me.
And, what else?
What do you mean, what else? He's invited me to his home.
I could do something about it, if you liked.
No, I can deal with him. The last thing I need is you going around threatening people. It won't help me, and it definitely won't help the refugees.
Why is there a guard outside?
He's here because of me.
Because of you?
Yes. There was one time I just had enough of it all, of the way they treat us, and I almost slapped one of... But that doesn't matter.
What can you tell me about the custodian?
He's supposed to be in charge of all the guards and the security of the monastery. But really, he has a say in pretty much everything, including supplies. And that's why he probably thinks he can do whatever he wants.
All right, that's all I need to know.
Look, Henry, I know I can speak harshly, but I'm at the end of my tether. Bohuslav died. Maybe you knew him. And nobody even blinked an eye. We desperately need help.
I'll do whatever's in my power. Tell me more about the situation here. All right, that's all I need to know.
God be with you.
The Overseer sent me. You're to show me... Because... And have you know...
Oh.
I'll be in... Who's... You talked about... And who... Where's the scene of...
Jesus Christ be praised.
I heard you found... And what?
What?
Here.
What? Not...
And are you sure...
Oh,
And where is it now?
oh.
The stone fell on him here. You can still see the marks. This has to be the stone that hit him. I'll take a piece of it. Maybe someone will recognize it. It looks genuine, but I'm not capable of judging.
God be with you.
I found this skull. People are saying it's the skull of a demon, but I don't know.
It certainly looks like it, with the horns and all. Well, let's see. Those are deer antlers that someone's fixed to this human skull. It's not a devil, just a bit of devilry.
I'm glad to hear it's not the real thing. Someone must have put it there deliberately, knowing that's where they were due to dig.
And they put a lot of work into it, too. The horns are held on tight, even though it was lying in water. Whoever did this was skilled bugger, and no mistake.
Hey, watch it! Folks these days. Huh. I know you. I know you from somewhere. Where do I know you from?
What?
Of course, my dream. You were in a boat made of bones, and I put a crown of thorns on your head.
All right. Tell me about this dream of yours.
That dream. Yes, that dream has come true. I dreamt that a young man would become my apprentice, my own pupil in the trade of miracles.
And that's supposed to be me?
Who else? What's your name, young man?
Henry.
Henry. A powerful name. So, Henry, are you ready to become my apprentice?
First, tell me, who are you, and what do you do?
Me? I am an unworthy, low, and miserable servant of Providence. Scholar or merchant, believer or heathen, I wander the world without home or family, with only my wagon, offering miracles to those that need them. That's who I am. Without home or kin, I wander this world with my wagon, providing the miracles that people need. Ointments, relics, aromatic herbs, rare spices, talismans and amulets for luck. All these things I have.
What exactly does it entail, becoming your apprentice?
A lot of work and strenuous labor. Knowledge of medicine, theology, and white magic. You have to study the great works of the ancients and devote your time to understanding your fellow men, listening to them, and learn to read their souls.
Nothing to it.
That's why God has sent you. So what do you say?
All right, I'll be your apprentice.
Wonderful! Oh, glorious day! I have a successor in my work.
So, how do you plan to start training me?
With a test of your practical skills.
Oh,
I have my eye on 3 rare objects of great value. But sadly, they're a little difficult to obtain.
go on.
First, I need a tooth of Saint Procopius. Then I'll need a branch from a topping out hung on a church. And finally, a talisman for luck from a passionate player.
Bloody hell, that's a lot. All right, one thing at a time. About that tooth, it's going to be slightly more complicated, isn't it?
I know. Yes, it would be very difficult to gain such a rare relic, of course. That's why I have an alternative solution.
I'm listening.
A layman named Procopius lives by the monastery, and it just so happens, thanks to my intricate medical knowledge, that I found out he has a sick tooth.
How did you find out he has a sore tooth?
As it happens, he told me at the tavern. But that's not important.
And how am I supposed to get the tooth?
I haven't the faintest idea. You'll have to think of something. But maybe you'll be able to persuade him to let the blacksmith pull it.
Wouldn't that be swindling people?
It is, and it isn't. If I sell that tooth as the tooth of Saint Procopius, then it certainly is deceitful. But if I sell it as a tooth from Procopius of Sasau, then I'm cheating nobody.
Does it really matter whose tooth I bring then?
Of course it does. The name Procopius in this holy land is shrouded with mystical powers. Sometimes I might play a trivial trick on someone, but I assure you, I'm no swindler.
Fine, I'll get it from him.
Wonderful.
This topping out, what's that?
You're not a carpenter, it seems.
No, I'm a blacksmith.
I see. Well, a topping out is a decorated spruce or a conifer tree hung on top of the roof of a new house to bring good fortune and God's blessing.
Well, then all we need to do is break off a branch somewhere, buy a few ribbons, and we've got our own homemade topping out right there.
You don't understand, young man. The topping out was sanctified by a priest, and it hangs on the highest church far and wide. You can't just replace it with a decorated branch.
Fair enough. That topping off is hung pretty high, isn't it?
Naturally. It hangs on the rooftop according to tradition, and the church is tall.
And how am I supposed to get it down?
Damned if I know. But they had to get it up there somehow, didn't they?
Very well, I'll get it. This player's talisman, where am I supposed to find it?
I actually have a specific one in mind. Here at the inn, there's a dice player who always has a cat's paw with him. That's supposed to bring him luck.
A cat's paw? I thought players bring along a rabbit's paw for luck.
I thought so too. But this man is winning one game after another, so cats are clearly even more powerful than rabbits.
Oh. How am I supposed to get the talisman from him?
I haven't a clue. It won't be easy, but I'm sure you'll find a way.
We'll see. Very well. I'll get you the paw. I'll get looking for those things then.
Excellent! You do that, my journeyman. Good luck.
Have you seen Leszek, the scaffolder?
I saw him. What do you want with him?
I want to talk to him about the head he dug up.
Really? That's interesting.
Why?
He asked me to meet him on the scaffolding tonight, so he can tell me something important. Said he wanted to confess something.
So he did have something to do with the skull. We knew it.
Maybe. But I'd wager someone made him do it. He doesn't seem the type to come up with something like that on his own. I'm planning to go and meet him. Will you come with me?
It will be safer with the two of us. I'll go.
Very well. We'll meet at night. If I'm not down at the bottom, then look for me at the top.
All right.
What is it? Jesus, look where you're going!
Just for a while, he said.
Can I take a look inside the monastery?
What's got into you, boy? The grounds inside...
Everything here is fine.
Christ above!
Greeting.
I can't get a wink of sleep.
What are you making such a fuss about?
A fuss? Because of my leg, I have to stay here for at least another week. Hurts like fuck. And with everyone else moaning and groaning all night, I can't get any sleep.
Why don't you go and lie somewhere else?
I can't. Not with this leg.
Maybe I can make you something to help you sleep.
Oh, then for God's sake, do it quickly.
Be a bit more careful.
Everything here is fine. Philip, from Skalitz. I don't see any wounds, but he's shaking terribly.
Yeah? Damn, why are you waking me?
You're not from Skalitz?
No, But please help me. I can't stay here.
What happened to you?
I was working on the building when the scaffolding up by the roof collapsed underneath me.
Well, and you're very lucky you survived at all.
Yes, that's what everyone tells me. But it's no use being alive if all I can do is lie here like a wet sack of barley.
Well, you're pretty battered, but I don't see anything that a few weeks' rest can't fix.
Weeks? My God, I have to get back to work sooner than that.
What's the problem? Why can't you stay until you heal?
I have a family. I'm poor. It's only thanks to the building work that we can survive. And the master told me if I don't come back in a few days, then I shouldn't come back at all. And where can me and my wife go then? Who'll take us in? We'll end up living in the woods, where any bandit or ruffian can set on us.
Is there anything I can do to help? It looks like they took care of your wounds.
When I was little, my father got trampled on by a horse, and an old hag from the village gave him some kind of purple herbs for it. And he got better very quickly.
And do you remember what the herbs were?
I don't. But there's supposed to be the whole cursed knowledge of the world in this place. Something has to be written about it. A herbarium. Anything.
I'll try to find something.
Thank you. Thank you.
These wounds have been well taken care of.
Huh? Shit. What's going on?
You look all right.
Mostly, but my leg still hurts.
Did the cumins wound you?
That's what I tell the ladies. Truth is, I did myself a mischief while I was running away.
And do they rebandage it for you?
Occasionally. They told me they don't have enough bandages.
Well, that's no use. Those bandages need changing. I've got bandages, so I can take care of it.
Wonderful. Could you tell Brother Nicodemus?
I can do it myself.
I thought you were a blacksmith.
A long time ago. But unfortunately, I've had to learn a thing or two about the art of medicine since then.
Well, fine then.
How are you feeling?
Good. It feels clean. Hope it helps.
It will. Tell them to rebandage you daily. You have the bandages here.
Thank you very much, Henry.
Don't mention it. I'm not needed here. These wounds have been well taken care of. He's not reacting. But all I can see that's wrong with him is his leg. I have to ask Johanka. I'm not needed here.
Hey! What is it?
And who are you?
Brother Elias.
What do you do here?
What I can. I'm just trying to help the Skalitz locals as much as I can.
How long have you been helping here?
Since before the refugees arrived. It was much less crowded back then.
And what do you do here exactly?
Mainly, I help Brother Nicodemus. Occasionally, I keep watch at night in case someone takes a turn for the worse. Sometimes I have to hold a patient down, or fetch and carry things.
Do you know anything about healing?
A little. I can manage the basics, but without Brother Nicodemus, I'd never be able to deal with the more difficult cases.
Thank you.
Welcome, Henry.
Hey! What's wrong with that man by the altar? He doesn't look wounded, but he's really pale and doesn't react at all.
He had a broken leg. A bad one. The bone had come right through the skin. We tried to straighten it, but I don't know if we did it right. I'm not holding out much hope for him. I've seen folk in that state before, and it didn't end well.
My God! There has to be something we can do.
And what do you suggest? The monks won't help, and I don't know anyone else who can.
Well, I can try. I'll straighten his leg.
You?
Unfortunately, I've had occasion to try this sort of thing before. You have to place the bone...
Well, fine. Try it then.
One of the sick men, Semek, is complaining about pain and the fact he can't work. He says he...
Semek? Is he one of our people?
No, he's a construction worker. He's bruised and confined to...
Henry, for God's sake, our neighbours are dying here. You're friends. There isn't time to waste on some construction worker's bruises. Oh, honestly, what were you thinking?
Listen, all I need to find out is the name of a herb.
Then go and look it up in a book. You've got your own herbarium, haven't you?
What happened to Philip?
Poor man. There was nothing wrong with him, and now he's getting worse every day.
But do you know why?
Maybe. He didn't run away from Skalitz, you see. He hid for days, among the corpses. If he got poisoned.
But what can we do?
Us? Nothing. Only Father Simon might have been able to save him. He knew a lot about poisons.
And where is he?
You know he left Skalitz years ago.
And does anyone know where he ended up?
If you believe the stories about a wild man in the woods, then Rovnar is the place to go.
Tell me more about the situation here. All right, that's all I need to know. Are you holding him firmly?
Aye.
Done.
What the hell?
What do I have to do to enter the monastery?
You must want to serve God, be willing to sacrifice yourself and do labor.
And if I do all that?
That's all you need. If you really want to spend the rest of your life in a monastery. Apart from being literate and having a letter of admission signed by the abbot, of course. But the main thing is to feel it in your heart. A monk spends most of his time in quiet contemplation and communion with the Lord, fervent prayer, and labor to the glory of all creation.
What do I have to do to enter the monastery?
You must want to serve God, be willing to sacrifice your...
And if I do all that?
That's all you need. But the main thing...
In a rush to pray.
Get going.
Get out of the monastery, or you'll pay the price.
Hey, you! Halt!
What the hell was
Surrender!
that?
You there! Stop! Stop right where you are!
You've been lurking around where you don't belong and ignoring warnings. Personally, I'd rather string you up, but unfortunately, all I can do is throw you in jail.
You're making a serious mistake. If only you knew what you've just got yourself into. This won't end well for you.
You'd make a stuffed bird laugh, but that won't help you much.
Jail it is, then.
You'll love it there. It's all set up specially just for the likes of you.
Get out before I break a few of your bones so you'll remember me for good.
My respects to you.
What about the crown? Is it finished?
I'm a man of my word. Of course it's finished. Here you have it. Thank the Lord you found that Moldavite. It wouldn't be the same without it.
Glad you came.
I could do with a bite to eat.
Henry. I'm glad you're here.
The Lord be praised. What's on your mind?
I've brought the roan, my lady.
That's wonderful. There weren't any problems with it, I hope.
Nothing too serious. He's a little wild, but I was able to handle him in the end.
Well, that won't do. Sophie can't have some wild horse at her wedding starting a stampede.
But I've learnt a trick. If you sing to him, he calms down.
You sang to a horse?
It's quite true, I'm afraid. I sang to a horse.
Well, then you'll have to sing something to me, too.
My lady, I don't know if I...
So I know how to calm down that roan. Go ahead, sing.
Two horses come roaming in the merry month of May, to graze in the shade of the apple tree there. The first one is brown and the second is grey. Which shall I ride to, my maiden so fair?
Oh, how beautiful! I'm not surprised the horse calmed down after hearing such a lovely voice. Anyway, I'll think about what to do with the roan. But thank you, Henry.
I brought you the crown from the master engraver.
Henry, you are a gem. Look at that Moldavite. Isn't it wonderful? Sophie will look like an angel. So, what's next?
I brought the wine.
Wonderful, wonderful. No wedding is complete without good wine. Find somewhere here to put it down. I'll send for a servant to bring it later. I hope you had no problems acquiring it.
Let's just say that when I got to the merchant, my task had only just begun.
But you were able to handle it. Thank you so much, Henry.
What can I do for you, my lady?
Nothing. You've done enough. And now I'd like to reward you.
That's not necessary, my lady. You taking the time to see me is reward enough.
Come now, Henry. No need for such modesty. I appreciate everything you've done for me, as well as your company. And there's something I'd like to give you. This shirt was my father's. He was built very much like you. Broad shoulders, strong chest. It should fit you just right.
But I can't accept this. It's too valuable.
It's too valuable to be left to the mercy of moths. It doesn't fit my husband well, and I've no one else to give it to. What's more, if you were to leave us again, I'd like you to have something to remember me by, so you don't forget me.
I could never forget you, my lady.
Well then, won't you try it on at least?
What, right now?
Why not? Don't worry, I won't look. I'll turn my back.
And what if your husband comes in?
He won't. Neither will anyone else.
All right, then.
I feel truly blessed to have you here. So long I yearned for young company. I really feel God heard my prayers and sent you to me.
I'm ready.
My, you do look handsome. As fine as any gentleman. When I was a little girl, there were always lots of other children around and young men and women of the court. It was so merry. I always hoped it would be like that when I was grown up too. But it was not God's plan.
You and Sir Divish had no children?
No. No, alas, we were not blessed. Twice I was with child, but they did not live. And now I fear there's no hope for me.
lady. Oh, forgive me, my lady. I shouldn't have.
I don't mind.
I could do with a bite to eat.
forbidden here.
God save you. What can I do for you?
Sir Divish mentioned you've been having one or two problems.
Well, he's not wrong. Thanks to these rumours going around, my stone blocks are just sitting here. Or lying.
What happened with the stone?
A piece broke off one and fell on someone, and they blame it on the quality of the stone. Ha! I bet they were too drunk to see straight.
And isn't it possible that...
It's not. I sent them the best stone. It would be a sin to cut corners to try and make money from the house of God.
I'm sorry you have so many worries. I hope it all ends well.
It'll end, one way or the other. It reeks of profiteering and politics.
Here's the cursed stone that caused so much damage.
It's old and weathered. But this isn't my stone.
What?
Well, this stone isn't from my quarry. See the grain? That's not from the weathering. The stone is from somewhere else.
What do you know about these rumours?
There was an accident in the monastery, and there are rumours going around that it was because of bad quality stone.
And isn't it possible one bad one might have slipped in there?
No.
Did you send the last delivery of stone in smaller pieces?
No. Why would we do that? We always deliver it in big blocks. It's easier for us.
That's odd. They told me they were glad you got them smaller pieces, so they had less work to dress it.
But that's not possible.
It seems the stone you sent never arrived, and they got this instead.
Unthinkable. I delivered the last shipment myself because I wanted to exchange a few words with them, and nothing happened along the way.
Then someone must have replaced them on site.
But what would the builders have out of it? To replace it, and then say we sent it?
I don't think the builders know what happened. Most likely it's someone else who has their fingers in this.
A thief?
Be a bit more careful.
Good day to you.
I'd like to buy a horse.
Well now, have you seen our steeds?
I have. Fine animals.
Nothing but the best here. Is there one in particular you fancy? Oh, the best horse I ever saw. Strong, fast, loyal, a proper war horse.
But?
Well, he ain't the most fragrant. Actually, he reeks. To tell the truth, he stinks diabolically.
Maybe some other?
Ah, good choice. One of the smartest mares we have here, and fast as they come. You'd think she was faster than time itself.
Maybe some other? I'll have to think it over.
How about a small wager, my good man?
That depends. A wager over what?
It's simple. I tell you a riddle. If you solve it, you get back twice the sum you wager. If you don't, I get to keep your coin.
Who might you be, anyway?
Me? No one important. But you can be sure of one thing, lad. I walk the world, collecting riddles, stories, and sometimes arms. I live from day to day. But enough of my babbling. Do you want to engage your mind?
That sounds good. Let's do it.
Now, listen carefully. In the feast hall on the table are 10 candles. Suddenly, a gust of wind throws open the window and blows out 2 candles. A little later, another candle goes out. The servant, therefore, closes the hall window. Now the wind cannot blow out any more. So how many candles can the servant find to relight the following morning in the hall?
Can you repeat that?
Certainly. In the feast hall on the table are 10 candles. Suddenly, a gust of wind throws open the window and blows out 2 candles. A little later, another candle goes out. The servant, therefore, closes the hall window. Now the wind cannot blow out any more. So how many candles can the servant find to relight the following morning in the hall?
10.
No, my fine fellow. The correct answer is 3. While the wind blows out 3, 7 burn down completely overnight, so the next day only 3 can be rekindled. Oh, don't you fret. Very few people can figure out my riddles. So, I thank you, and may we meet again sometime.
Not if I see you first.
God be with you.
I see there's not much going on around here. So you've stayed here on your own?
Quite so, all by myself. All the others were either killed by the Cumans or fled to Rattay.
I'm sorry to hear that. And what's keeping you here, alone?
My older brother ran away with the wandering players, so when our father was on his deathbed, he made me swear I'd never leave our home.
I can see you took your vow seriously.
I did. But it's starting to get dangerous around here. Again.
The Cumans?
If it were Cumans, I'd grab an axe and that would be that. But a week back, some rabble made their way through here. They begged me for food, and mark my words, they weren't taking no for an answer. If they'd been just a tad hungrier, I swear they would have stormed the cottage.
There are gangs like that around, true enough. I saw the mess they left behind. Savages.
It was horrible. People tried to find shelter in the church, but them dogs was waiting. They knew too well that's where folk would try to hide.
And where did you hide?
By the grace of God, I got my family away into the woods.
But I don't see your family with you. I hope those bastards didn't sniff them out.
No, it takes better man than them to track me down. I sent my wife to Rattay with some others.
Do you think folk will ever go back to their homes?
Oh, I don't know about Skallets, but the folk here are sure to want to come back. The only thing they're missing is spiritual support.
Do you mean the priest?
Indeed. When the land's at war, noblemen fight to protect their property. But simple folk want someone to tend their souls.
Of course. But it was the Skallets parish priest who ministered here, wasn't it?
He did. But there's been no sign of him since the attack. Or at least he's definitely not in Rattay among the refugees.
That's true enough. I didn't see him there.
But if you're interested, young fella, maybe you could help us find the priest we need here.
I can always ask. But I've really got no idea where to start.
I can help with that. A few years ago, there used to be another priest in Skallets. Simon, I think his name was.
Simon? Father Simon, I remember him. That's the one who went missing, right?
Aye. I don't want to spread rumours, but they say he was in love with his housekeeper. And then she died somehow, poor thing.
That's not a story I've come across.
It only reaches folk who care for such tales. Well, to finish the story, Simon left the parish and ran away. You know that already. There was neither sight nor sound of him for a long time, until this spring he showed up here.
And what's he doing here?
That's just it. People say he's become a hermit.
All right. And where can I find him?
I couldn't tell you exactly, but you could start by talking to that girl's parents. Well, they live on a farm nearby, and it's likely they know more. They may even have had words with him.
I'll go and see what they have to say for themselves.
God go with you, lad, and I pray you find him. If some heathen stabs me in my sleep, I'd rather have a decent burial.
Don't worry. I'll bring someone.
Want to earn a bit of coin? I've got this plan. Stop and talk a while at least. We've got him! You're not averse to a bit of profit, are you? He's here!
Hey,
is someone
there?
I'm looking for the priest, Father Simon, and I heard you might know of him.
Simon? What do you want him for?
I'm looking for the priest who used to take care of St. James, and the locals tell me they saw him around here.
I don't know if I can help you there. He'll never go back to his parish, if you ask me. Very well. What is it you want to know?
What went on between Simon and your daughter?
Nothing that hasn't happened before. Our Mary was his housemaid in Skalitz. She was pretty, very pretty. And he was young, and so things went the way they do between comely young folk. She came back home one day, heavy with child.
Yes, these things happen. What can you do?
I said as much. I was just glad our girl was provided for. Only she never had the chance to hold that babe in her arms. She didn't live through the birth.
I'm very sorry.
Such is a woman's lot in life. Men die in battle, and women in the arms of the midwife.
And what happened to Simon?
The poor man. He took it the worst. He was sure God's wrath smote Mary for her fornication.
That's rubbish. People lie together out of wedlock all the time, and God never smites them down.
That's just what I told him. But it's hardly my place to lecture a priest. And who knows? Maybe he was right. The Lord moves in mysterious ways. He was overflowing with grief. He barely spoke, didn't eat, refused to take a new housemaid. And then, one fine day, the presbytery was deserted. It took a good season before another priest came along.
Where can I find him? He's said to be wandering around here somewhere.
I heard that too, and I'm inclined to believe it, even though I haven't seen him myself.
How come?
After our poor Mary went to her rest, we used some of the money he'd paid us to put a cross up by the roadside. And lately, there's been wreaths of comfrey turning up next to it. I don't take them there, nor my husband neither.
You think Simon does?
Who knows? Maybe it's a miracle. I could believe anything. But there's not been fresh ones for a while, so perhaps he's moved on elsewhere again.
I see. Can you tell me where that cross is?
Certainly. There are settling tanks for the mines to the west of Skalitz. On the hill above them in the woods, there are several paths. Mary's cross is by one of them, close to the brook.
All right, thanks. I'll be going.
Very good, then. And if you do find him, let him know that we have no hard feelings.
I'll tell him. This must be that cross. Mary's mother was right. Someone did lay flowers here recently. I should have a look around and see if there's comfrey growing anywhere nearby.
How are you, Henry? Hey, you! What are you doing here?
I've come for the priest. Simon.
There's no one here called that.
There is. Do you take me for a fool?
All right. Maybe there is someone here. What of it? We're not going anywhere.
I think you should talk less and move your legs more.
And why is that? You think you've got what it takes to beat us?
I might. But it doesn't matter, because I saw you yesterday, and then stopped by Talmberg to report. So, unless you'd rather wait for Sir Divish's Captain Robard, you should go now.
Shit! Alright, we'll go. How far are they?
Far enough still. If you run, I'm sure you'll get away.
Right. Thanks for the warning.
Oh, thank you, my son. I was beginning to fear I'd never get out of here alive.
They didn't look dangerous. The only thing at risk was your possessions.
I know, poor fools. But I was afraid they'd leave me here. What would I have done then? And to whom do I owe my salvation?
My name's Henry. You may remember me. I'm the son of the Skalitz blacksmith.
Your face does seem familiar. But listen, Henry, I can't help feeling you didn't stumble across me by accident.
It's true. I've come to ask a favor of you.
Me? What on earth could I do for you?
I need you to go back to St. James. The folk there need spiritual guidance. Skalitz is a burned-out shell, and many have died in St. James. They need a priest. Any priest.
I understand, but I have to disappoint you. I gave up my calling. Instead, I've given myself over to repentance.
I know your story, Father.
Then you know what I'm guilty of.
Yes, and I don't want to try to make light of it. Your conscience is your own affair, but I know that deep down you're a good man.
You don't know what you're saying. You don't know me.
But I know what you did. Many priests break God's commandments willy-nilly and aren't the least ashamed.
That doesn't absolve me of my sins. God's law is set, no matter how often it's violated.
You're certainly right, but the people need you. And forgive me for being blunt, but while you can leave the presbytery if you choose, it doesn't absolve you of your duty to Christian folk.
But I'm a sinner. I'm not fit to guide anyone. I'm unworthy to do so.
Priests, bishops, monks, abbots, they're all sinners. Even the Holy Father himself is a sinner. You've done your penance, and now your people need you.
Well, you're probably right. It is my duty. At least for a time, until they find someone better.
I don't think they'll find anyone better in a hurry.
All right. I'll take what I can carry and go back to St. James.
Thank you. Your parishioners will be very grateful. I need help with treatment.
And what's wrong with you?
Oh, nothing. But Philip from Skalitz is dying. He's lying in Sasau and won't last long.
Slowly now. What happened to him?
Nobody knows much. He's not wounded, but I heard he was hiding from the Cumans for days in a pile of carcasses.
The Lord have mercy. The living should never lie with the dead. His intestines must be purged, but even then he's in God's hands.
How do I clean his intestines?
It might surprise you, but you'll have to give him alcoholic spirits. The purest you can get your hands on. The best is distilled from Artemisia. It'll make him a bit delirious, but it'll help. I'll show you how to prepare it.
Dear Mistress Johanka, I come again in admiration of your selfless dedication. I would like to invite you to a fine banquet at my palace. You certainly have earned What business have you here, fellow? Who let you in?
I'm taking care of the wounded, as I'm sure you're aware.
Ah. Well then, run along and take care of them, and let me talk to Johanka. You're not needed here.
Wouldn't it be better to have the banquet here, custodian?
What?
If you won't give the sick anything else, can you at least hold the banquet here?
Nobody's going to talk to me that way. Lock him up for the night and let him learn some manners.
Good health to you.
I looked around, and the stone that fell on that man is different from the rest.
Yes, it's very poor. But we have to work with what we've got. We didn't have anything else, and we couldn't wait for more.
That's not what I meant. It's not the same kind of stone that came from Talmberg. Someone must have switched it.
But why would anyone do that?
Well, maybe he was stealing new stone and replacing it with old stuff. Or to sabotage the construction, I don't know.
But the carriage never moved. It rained a lot and we couldn't get any work done, or we'd have been up to our ankles in mud.
So someone had to take it out without being seen.
That huge piece of rock. It would take a few strong men to shift something that size. I know you're trying to help, but someone would have noticed. It couldn't be done without anyone seeing it.
The skull is a fake. Someone fixed horns on a human skull.
But where would they get a human skull? And why would they do it?
Maybe to frighten the workers? Raise the price?
But that wouldn't help anyone. It had to be some idiot's idea of a prank. An idiot who was nearly responsible for getting a man killed.
That custodian Sebastian is really obnoxious.
He can be unpleasant, but in his own way. I don't know.
You can't be serious.
What's that supposed to mean? At least he was here, unlike you, the whole time. And anyway, mind your own business.
What happened?
We brought you back to the land of the living.
How? How long have I been unconscious?
For a long time. Your friends have left.
I have to find them.
No, rest now. You're going to be very weary for the next week or two. You'll find your friends. They probably ended up in Rattay like most of our folk.
Well, all right. And Henry?
Hmm?
Thank you.
be a bit more careful.
Be a...
Damn!
I'll have to get something to eat. I'm starting to get hungry.
Good health to you.
I found you a priest.
Really? That's wonderful news. Who is it?
The former parish priest of St. James. I persuaded him to return to live among you, at least for a while.
So you found him?
Yes. He was roaming the woods around here.
Thank God. You'll see. Once there's a priest, people will soon be back.
I hope so.
I've put together a small sum for a new piece. So I thought a portion should definitely go to you, as a reward.
I couldn't possibly take it. You'll need the money to rebuild the village.
As you wish, then. I shan't weigh you down with it.
So, farewell to you. And I hope he gets here soon. Just don't you let him run off again.
I'll keep an eye on him myself. Godspeed to you, Henry, and thank you for your help.
I feel quite hungry. Could do with a bite to eat. Could do with a bite to eat. Could do with a bite to eat. I'll have to get something to eat. I'm starting to get hungry.
Everything here is fine. He'll be able to get out of this on his own.
Good health to you, Henry.
You can't choose your kin, eh?
Isn't that God's truth?
My respects to you.
I've come to ask about that human.
Ask away.
How did you manage to catch him? It's not like I underestimate you, but I can only assume he was armed.
Aye, he was. But he had a bit of bad luck. I went for water in the morning, and all of a sudden I saw a man on a horse riding through the ford. Halfway down the ford, the horse got wild and threw him into the water. I waded in and pulled him up on the shore. And then I realized he was a human. Luckily for me, he'd hit his head and was out cold. So I dragged him into the bar.
And what plans do you have for him?
What do I know? The miller told me to guard him. You'll have to ask him what he's got in mind.
All right, I'll ask him. Interesting. I'm here for the cumin.
What?
The miller told me I can take him away. He's headed for the Rat-Eye Gallows.
Right.
Don't just stand there, then. Open up.
Oh. Very well.
Mit akartok már megint? Gyáva nyulak vagytok mind. Itt tartotok, mint egy állatot, de egyikőtök sem mer velem kiállni. Köpök rátok szukafattyát.
Get up. The executioner and Rat-Eye can't wait to meet you.
Mi? Mi történik?
Stop talking and get up.
Please, no, no, Rat-Eye.
How about that? You do understand. And you don't want to go to Rat-Eye? If I were you, I'd feel the same way.
Please, money, underground.
Quietly. I don't want to hear another word.
God, what happened to you? You look like you've been assaulted.
I'm here about the cumin.
Ah, so it was you who brought it. I suppose you've come for your reward.
Exactly.
I wouldn't want to be in his shoes, I'll tell you that. That is the first cumin anyone's ever brought in alive. Then again, those devils don't deserve any mercy. Anyway, here's the reward for your service.
Thanks. Master Bailiff, is there anything of interest going on here?
Nothing of interest to me, thank Christ.
Good day to you. Good God, you look terrible. Did someone attack you?
I'd like to discuss the price.
Well, we can try it.
Henry, I'm glad you came.
Satisfied?
Come now, just a little more and we have a deal. Aye, for that amount I can be persuaded.
Jesus, look where you're going.
What the hell?
Good day, Henry.